Well, on the one hand, I can't say I'm surprised, because that would be naive as hell. But on the other hand, at some point, it has to get surprising, right? Biden to send another $1 billion in military aid to Ukraine. President Joe Biden announced another $1 billion in weapons for Ukraine on Wednesday following a call with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. The latest security package, the 12th such installment, 12th, includes anti-ship systems, artillery rockets, and rounds for howitzers. President Joe Biden announced another $1 billion in weapons for Ukraine on Wednesday, including anti-ship systems, artillery rockets, and rounds for howitzers. Quote, "This morning I spoke with President Zelensky to discuss Russia's brutal and ongoing war against Ukraine. I reaffirmed my commitment that the United States will stand by Ukraine as it defends its democracy and support its sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of unprovoked Russian aggression," Biden wrote in a statement. Biden also announced an additional $225 million in humanitarian assistance for Ukraine to address needs like safe drinking water, critical medical supplies, food, and cash for families to purchase essential items. The White House said Biden spoke to Zelensky for about 40 minutes regarding the capabilities included in the latest package, which is the 12th U.S. military assistance installment for Ukraine since the start of the war, since Moscow invaded Ukraine on February 24th. The Biden administration has deployed more than 100,000 U.S. troops to NATO member countries and authorized more than $5.6 billion in security assistance. Look at this. That means $54 billion to Ukraine in less than 4 months. To be fair, I don't know which number is correct here. This one says $5.6 billion in security assistance. But either way, I think the number that pops to me more than anything else is the 12th round of support. Now, understand something. Early on in the process, I thought, look, I get it. Russia is illegally invading a sovereign country, regardless of what you think of the backstory as to how we got there with NATO and everything surrounding it. You can't just invade the country. So I have no problem sending them weapons to defend themselves. I'm perfectly fine with that. We've clearly reached the point where it's not just about them defending themselves. We've clearly reached the point where this is just a slush fund for the military-industrial complex. And they are getting wealthy off of this fight. And so I think the U.S. wants like a permanent stalemate in the region. Sort of draw Russia in further, just shower weapons all over Ukraine, and fuck the consequences. So I don't think, in the same way I don't think Vladimir Putin is really a partner in peace. I don't think he's looking for peace. I don't think Joe Biden is looking for peace. Because we should be talking about an off-ramp. We should be talking about a negotiated settlement and diplomacy at this point. We're not. We're just showering more weapons into Ukraine. 12 rounds of military support? Now, stop and think about this. Why is it that support happens immediately? Like, as soon as we see something happening, boom, okay, cut the checks. We're done here, baby. But we're living in a country where we still have a baby formula shortage, and there's not this urgency. We live in a country where 30 million people don't have health insurance, and there's not this urgency. 45,000 die every year because they don't have health care, and there's not this urgency. What is it with the extreme urgency for Ukrainian sovereignty, but we have like 500,000 homeless people wandering around on the streets, and there's no urgency to get a roof over their head and get food in their stomach? I mean, they literally say some of the money is going to make sure that these families have food. Well, what about the families in the U.S.? What about that? So this strikes me as, it's getting a little ridiculous, isn't it? And the other thing is, there's no tracking of these weapons. And one of the caveats I told you guys from the very beginning is that I would only support the arming if we know where the weapons are going and it's not ending up in the hands of the Azov battalion, who are card-carrying neo-Nazis. So, and they're officially part of the Ukrainian National Guard. So we don't know where the fuck these weapons are going, and my guess is a lot of the weapons are going to them because they are the trained fighters. They are the most ruthless fighters, and they're probably on the front lines more than anybody else, and so they get a lot of the weapons. And then what happens, for example, if Zelensky ends up cutting a deal with Vladimir Putin? What happens when the Azov battalion turns on Zelensky? and we just flooded the whole region with guns, and then a neo-Nazi faction tries to do a coup of Ukraine with the weapons that we gave them. What about that? I bet they haven't thought about that. They don't care about that. Because again, at this point, this is more about profits for the military-industrial complex. They view this as an opportunity. So, man, this is obnoxious. It's as obnoxious as it gets. I think 12 rounds of support is enough. I don't know. What do you guys think? In fact, I think we could have maybe stopped after 3. Call me crazy.